Greetings, it's Iain from RTO on a busy old Wednesday. We've already done 2 birthdays for Jodie and Stephen, and now it's marathon. What a day we're having. So there is something going on in the background on my computer today because the fan is going mental. So I will try and take it out, but I'll do my very best to keep it going. So today we've got a viewer's request, and someone has asked for Weather Report. Now these are an American jazz fusion. Now this is a band I've heard of, but I hadn't listened to much of their stuff. So this was pretty good, and to be quite honest, I thoroughly enjoyed it. Okay, they were formed back in 1970 by Austrian keyboardist Joe Zawinul, American saxophonist Wayne Shorter, Czech bassist Miroslav Vutas, American drummer Alphonse Mouzon. Initially led by Zawinul and Shorter, but in 1970 they progressed. Zimul largely became a solo music leader of the group. Other prominent members joined at the band, including people like Victor Bailey, Chester Thompson, Peter Erskine. And although most of its existence the band were a quintet consisting of Zim Wallace, Shorter, a bass player, a drummer and a percussionist, alongside bands such as Manavishi Orchestra, Returns Forever and Herbie Hancock's Headhunters, all with members inspired and particularly responsible for the fusion era work of Miles Davis. They are Weather Report, though, are one of the most defining bands of this genre, and they released 14 albums. So let's have a look at these 14 albums. So coming in at number 14 is the 14th and final album released in 1986, and it is called This Is This. It was there just to fulfill a contract. So on here we have got Joe and Wayne, Victor Bailey's on here playing the bass, Mino Silu on percussion, Peter Erskine on drums, and lots of other people joining in. So the first track is the title track, This. This is a real funky opening track. It's not too bad. It goes on a little bit too long for me, but on the whole it's pretty good. Face the Fire. This has got certainly a Fela Kuti sort of feel to it. I like this one. It's quite funky. I'll Never Forget. There's a bit of that 80s sound coming in, and I wouldn't consider the Weather Report doing this, but they did. It's okay. Jungle Stuff Part 1. It's a little bit too 80s to be jazz fusion. Man with Copper Fingers. Cheesy 80s keyboards creeping in. No, go away. I do like the guitar on this though. Consequently, it's okay. Nothing special. Update. It's just lots of noise. I don't know what was going on there. China Blues, the last track. It's actually my favourite track. It's got a catchy beat and a tempo. This does certainly sound like a let's get this album out of the way to fulfill the contract. I don't really like it. It's going through the motions. So I should give this an RTO ranking of 4 out of 10. Okay, coming in at number 13, we have the 7th album released in 1977, Heavy Weather. So joining Joe and Wayne on here, we have got Jaco Pastorius, Alex Acuna, Maluna Borderina. And the first track is called Birdland. This is the jazz I don't like. It sounds like 15 musicians playing different tunes. It's very irritable. A remark you made, love Wayne's saxophone in this. Great saxophone player. The keyboards really add to it as well. Teen Town, some incredible drumming on here by Alex. Or is it, I don't know if it's Alex or not. No, it's the Tablas. It's done by Joe. It really is good. Harlequin is another good track. Some nice saxophone again from Wayne. Really adds to it. Then we have Rumba Mama. Just lots of drumming and percussion. I quite like that. Palladium, my favourite track on here. I do like the bass line. It really grew with some nice electric piano in there. Really good with that sax. The Juggler comes next. Very relaxing track. Although I did find it tedious towards the end. And the last track is called Havona. It's okay. There's too much going on. A lot of big fans are wondering, why is this so low? But there's a few disjointed tracks on here. I don't like this 300 people playing at once, all different tunes. And there's a bit of that on here. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 5 out of 10. Okay then, coming in at number 12, we have the 12th album from 1984, and it's called Domino Theory. So joining Joe and Wayne now, it's Omar Hackam on drums, Victor Bailey on bass, Jose Rossi percussion. We've got Carl Anderson doing some singing on one track, and that is the first track, Can't Be Done. It's got some lyrics, it doesn't blow very well, and it's a little bit disjointed, this one. D flat waltz, love Wayne's saxophone in this, absolutely top draw, but why put synthesizer on it, just spoils it. The Peasant, I like this, it's got some flute, it's got a nice swing to it, excellent little track. Predator, great track, it's Wayne's lovely saxophone in this. I don't know if it's a vibraphone or a xylophone on it as well. Pretty good. Blue Sound Note 3 is next. I like the beginning of this. It's got a phasing sort of synthesizer which works on this. And then it goes into that sort of 70s, mid-70s cop show sort of music. And a lovely saxophone piece again from Wayne. Swamp Cabbage, interesting track. Not a particular favourite of mine, it's just a little bit dirgy. And we have the Domino Theory. I found another track that I found a little bit disjointed. It's not a bad album. There's a little bits going on here, some strange stuff going on as well. So I should give this an RTO ranking of 5.3. Okay, then coming in at number 11, we've got the 8th album. This was released in 1978 and it's called Mr. Gone. So Joe's doing all the pianos and synthesizers and sequencing and all lots of bits like that. Wayne's on the saxophones as ever. And then we've got Jaco Pastorius on bass, Peter Erskine on drums, also Terry Williams does some drumming, Steve Gadd does some drumming, we've got some vocals from Malona Badira, John Lucian, Denise Williams and Morris White. First track on here is called The Pursuit of the Woman with the Feathered Hat. Love this track, it's just got atmosphere. I like the vibraphone on it, it's got a real nice beat to it, a great start. River People, love this, hand clapping, bit of a party, some striking saxophone from Wayne, excellent track. Young and Fine, I love that sort of off-key piano on it. Great track. And I think that's why it makes it good, that sort of off-key sound. The Elders, one of those atmospheric tracks with lots of saxophone on it. Mr. Gone. This is my favourite track. I do love the bass line and the drums on this. Quirky keyboards from Joe. Excellent little track. Punk Jazz. A really good track. I love the tones that Joe got on his keyboards on this. Keep up with the drummer though. It's really good. But in Pinocchio they don't keep up with the drummer. Everyone's sort of playing catch up and I quite don't like this. And then nice gentle chat. Lyrics Sam Guest. Very nice. On the whole I enjoyed this album. It's a very good listen. I've played it a few times now and really got into this one. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 5.5. Okay, coming in at number 10, the 10th album. And it's the second time they've used just a weather report as the title, and this is the 1982 version. And it was the first one that featured Giacomo Pretorius and Peter Erskine in the rhythm section. So Joe's doing all the keyboards, Wayne's on the old saxophones, Jacko's on the bass, Peter's on the drums, and percussion Robert Thomas Jr. First track is called Volcano for Hire. I love the start of this. The drumming from Peter's great. It's that tribal, and it's got this tribal sound to it as well. I love that, it's great. Cover Current Affairs, a little simple drum beat, some nice piano from Joe, some lovely sax from Wayne, background music at dinner parties. Really, really good. Then we get this 10-minute little thing. It's put into 3 movements. The 34's parallel, the dance, Crazy About Jazz. I like how this is split into the 3 movements. It flows. I think this is great, and you can just see this evolution of jazz as it goes through the album, the track. Absolutely brilliant. Dara Factor 1. It's a real false tapping tune, very catchy, quirky stuff. Then my favourite on here is When It Was Now. I love the horns on this. It really adds to it. Again, it's just a really groovy, funky jazz thing. Speechless comes next, a very nice, slow, relaxing piece. Nice playing by the band. Then we have Dr. Factor 2. Just carried on from the first part. Really catchy tune. That was the last track on the album. A really good album again. I've really enjoyed listening to them. To be quite honest, there isn't really apart from that last album, they're all very similar, and I really start to appreciate this band more now. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 5.6. Okay, I do need a sip of coffee because I'm a bit bunged up today. That's all this talking I've been doing as well. Okay, coming in at number 9 is the 9th album from 1980, and it is called Night Passage. Now this was recorded over 2 days, the 12th, 13th of July, at the Complex Studios in Los Angeles, before a crowd of 250 people. So they recorded it in the studio theatre live. And Madagascar, that was recorded in Japan on the 29th of June of the same year. So playing on here is, we've got Joe on keyboards and synthesizers, Wayne on the saxophones, Jacko on the fretless bass, Peter on the drums, and Robert Thompson Jr. doing more percussion. The first track is my favourite track on this album, and it is called Night Passage. It's absolutely brilliant. It's got some gentle bits in it, a great bass line from Jacko, really soulful drumming from Peter. Excellent track. Dream Clock, very eerie piece. It's a 6.5 minute piece, but it's got lots of atmosphere and tones. Really is good. Port of Entry, that fretless bass comes through on this, and Joe's piano, getting these little bongos from Robert Thomas Jr. Really love this sort of thing. Forlorn, probably the most dreariest track on the album. It's really okay. Then they do a Duke Ellington piece called Rockin' in Rhythm. I just love this. I think it's a great piece of music, and I love the jazz guitar on this. Absolutely fantastic. Fast City, Peter's drumming on this is incredible. I like how he speeds it up. Incredible drummer, Peter Erskine. 3 Views of a Secret. Some nice delicate touches on this one. It's got that sort of proper jazzy prog excuse me, guitar fusion on that, really good. And then Madagascar. It's a long piece and some nice saxophone. Oh, excuse me. Okay, it's a pretty good album. I enjoyed this one. I like the fact that it's sort of recorded live in front of people. Yeah, I found the little Madagascar though a little bit too long, so I shall give this an RTO ranking of 6 out of 10. Okay then, coming in at number 8, we go to the 11th album now. It came out in 1983 and it's called Procession. So, apart from Joe and Wayne, we have Omar Hakim on drums, Victor Bailey on the bass, Jose Rossi on percussion. Also joining them on here, we have got the Manhattan Transfer doing the vocals on track 4. Remember them? Chanton Zamour or whatever it was called. They play on here. First track is the title track, Procession. I do like this sort of jazz sound. It's gentle swing, really gets you in the mood. You know, big microphones, dinner jacket, smoky room type talk track. Placer Real. It's a very nice, moody sort of track. Wayne's is brilliant on here with his saxophone playing. Great track. 2 lines. Great bass line here from Victor. It very dominates the track. The saxophone is great. Absolutely brilliant. Then my favourite track on here, Where the Moon Goes. And I love it because it's got Manhattan Transfer. Now they were a really good little band. Very jazzy. Must do a retro ranking on that on Manhattan Transfer because they have made some great songs. I like this, and it's probably why it's my favourite. They do add to it with their wonderful harmonies. Then we get The Well, a little bit disjointed. It sounds like a soundtrack music, you know, when you don't know what's quite going on. And Molasses Run, the last track. Wayne's saxophone is fantastic on this. I really do like him as a saxophone player. He's coming one of my undiscovered favourites. Absolutely killer saxophone player. Once again, a pretty solid album. All I can say, I really enjoyed listening to this one, and I'm going to give it an RTO ranking of 6.3. Okay, coming in number 7, got the 6th album, released in 1976, and it's called Black Market. It was the 6th album and the first to feature Jaco Pastorius, and it also features another a drummer we all know, Chester Thompson. So it's got Joe and Wayne doing what they do, Alfonso Johnson on electric bass, Jaco electric fretless bass. We've got Narada Michael Walden doing drums on a few of the tracks, the one and only Mr. Chester Thompson as well, congas by Alex Kunga, Don Alice's percussion as well. First track on here is Black Market itself. The first thing you notice, I knew it was Chester Thompson playing on this, is his style of drumming. It's a great track. I mean, Chester's a great drummer, as we know. I love that track. Cannonball, great track. Bass line is pretty good. Really good track. Gibraltar's next. My favourite here. Some great drumming from Chester. Best drumming on the album. Fine. This is why it's my favourite track. I love the electric piano injection, the bongos that works around Chester's really good beat. Excellent track. Okay, next one, Elegant People. This again, it's got the combination of the bongos and the drums working well together. You can see why Phil and Chester used to work well doing their drum solos. It's just flawless. And then throw in a bit of sax from Wayne, and it's a great track. Three Clowns. Love the piano. It's that jazzy piano sort of sound. Quirky. Pretty good. Barbary Coast. Horns. The sound horns of the American railway locomotive with a great bass line on it. Really adds to it. Then we have Herandu. A great track. Chester's on fire. I love that with that quirky keyboard from Joe. Great track to end the album. Not a bad track on this one. I do really like this. You know, he made this album just before he joined Genesis as a touring drummer, and you can understand why he got the gig, because his drumming on this is terrific. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 6.5. Okay, then coming in at number 6, we've got the second album from 1972, and it's called I Sing the Body Electric. It included 2 new members of the percussionist Dom Romano and drummer Eric Gravatt. The last 3 tracks were recorded in concert in Tokyo in 1972. So they used to do that, didn't they? Put live tracks on studio albums. So joining other people on here is Miroslav Vitus on the bass, as well Andrew White on English horn, Herbert Laws Jr. on the flute. Lots of backing vocals as well. Unknown Soldier opens up the album. What a track. Eric's drumming on this is pretty good. Lots of vocals, some lovely soothing sax from Wayne. The Moors, a little bit different. You've got a bit of jazz guitar thrown in there, really good, great saxophone. Crystal, a very ambient track, eerie, atmospheric, wonderful piece of music. Second Sunday in August. I call this psychedelic jazz. I just love the piano on here. Then we have this melody, Vertical Invader, live, pretty good. It just goes on a little bit. Sakura, It's Alright, and Directions, very thing. This is purely at number 6 because of the studio albums. I'm not too keen on the live stuff. It seems like everybody was just doing their own thing, and unless you're there to listen to it can be a little bit tedious. So I shall give this an RTO ranking of 6.6. Okay then, coming in at number 5, we've got the 13th album released in 1985, and it's called Sportin Life. So joining Joe and Wayne on here, we've got Omar Hakim on the drums, Victor Bailey on the bass, Mino Silu on percussion. Got some additional musicians. We got vocals from Bobby McFerrin, Carl Anderson, Dee Dee Bellinson and Alfie Salas. First track on here is called Corner Pocket. I love the vocal on this. Quirky, great drumming, fantastic track. Indiscretions, gentle sort of percussion, but a rich saxophone from Wayne. Hot Cargo, it's got this Caribbean feel to it, with a little bit of sax on there. It's really nice. Then we have my favourite track on here, and it's called Confiance. I love the guitar work on this. The vocal's really nice, a little bit different. That's probably why I like it. Really works. Pearl on the Half Shelf, my second favourite here. It's got a groove. It's a very modern jazz track. Fantastic. What's Going On, of course, is a Marvin Gaye song, and I'm not very keen on it. Ice Pick Willie. I love Wayne sax on here. I like how it keeps coming into the foreground and then going to the background. This is a great album. This is the album that was intentionally going to be their last, and this should have been their last because it's got some great playing on it. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 6.7. Okay then, coming in at number 4, we have the debut album from 1971, Weather Report. So it's Joe, Wayne, Morislav, Alfonso, Arto, and Ramon Airto, and joining them on percussion is Barbara Burton and Don Alice. First track on here is a brilliant little thing called Milky Way. It's a 2-minute thing. It's eerie. It's got that space, and you get this little bit of trumpet in it. Wonderful. Umbrellas. What a track this is. The bass line for Morislav, absolutely brilliant. Even the tambourine sounds great on that. Seventh Arrow. Cool drumming here. by Alphonse. Absolutely top draw. Beautiful bass line from Miroslav. Absolutely killer track. Orange Lady, my favourite track on here. It's a dreamy sort of track. Beautiful saxophone by Wayne. Very dreamy. Morning Lake, another of my favourite tracks. This is as dreamy as Orange Lady. The delicate keyboards from Joe. And I just like how you get the droplets of water that sounds like on the lake. Excellent track. Waterfall, interesting. It's sort of got that watery feel to it as well. It's just really nice, quirky little track. Then we have Tears. I like the vocal on this, really adds to the track. It's a nice, gentle sounding track. Eurydice. I don't like this very much, but I do like the saxophone of it. The rest of it's a little bit off kilter. Not a bad debut album. It's got some great stuff on here. The last track I do find a little irritating though, so I shall give this an RTO ranking of 7 out of 10. Okay, then coming in number 3, we have the 5th album from 75, and it's called Tale Spinnin. So joining Joe and Wayne on here, Alfonso Johnson's on the electric bass, Leon Chancellor on the drums, and Aurelio Lima on percussion. First track on this one, The Man in the Green Shirt. Some great drumming here from Leon. Absolutely, goodness me, really groovy. Great track. Lustin Tanos is the next track. Piano work from Joe is fantastic. Highlight to that track. Between the thighs. It just reminds me of Spinal Tap's Jazzosity. It just nothing going on, all over the place. But the drumming again from Leon is excellent. You can pick that out, but the rest of it's a bit jumbled. Badia, my favourite track on here. I love the mystique Eastern sound. You can imagine, like belly dancers dancing to this. It's really good. Great track. Freezing Fire. More great drumming here from Leon. Wayne's delivery on the saxophone, though, is top draw. 5 short stories. Got that lovely combination between Wayne and Joe complementing each other. They've played together for a long time. Even back in the early days, they knew how each other ticked. Great moody track. Great album. I really enjoyed listening to this. I've played it quite a lot. It's got some great upbeat songs on it. It's a moody atmosphere. Good round album. So I'm going to give it an RTO ranking of 7.2. Okay, then coming in at number 2, we've got the 4th album from 1974, and it's called Mysterious Traveller. So you've got Joe, Wayne, and Miroslav on this. Alfonso Johnson doing some bass. Ishmael Wilburn on drums. Skip Haddon does some drums. And Dom Ramado on percussions. Guest musicians, there is a huge list of them just doing singing. First one on this one is called Nubian Sundance. It really flows. It's a long track, and it's one of the long tracks that really just flow. It's ups and downs, and some great playing on here from everybody. They all have their sort of little virtuoso on it. Really good. My favourite track though is American Tango. I love the little stabs on the keyboards from Joe. Really good. Cucumber Slumber, another really good track. Takes a little while to get going, but that middle bit with the bongos and saxophone, fantastic. Mysterious Traveller. I like this. Little bits of stabby piano from Joe. Great rhythm on it. Very, very good track. Blackthorn Rose. I like this. It's just Joe on the piano and just having a really nice time. It's gentle stuff. Scarlet Woman, all right in places. you just get these little bursts of sound which sort of disjoint it a bit. Jungle Book, another of my favourite songs. I like the vocal and piano on here. It's just really, really nice. Not a bad album. There are some little blips on here, but on the whole, I do really like this album. It came through as a very strong album, and I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 7.4. Okay, my number one album, and I've just found this to be, it sort of defined American jazz fusion for me. Released in 1973 in its Sweetnighter, the group recorded the songs in a 5-day stretch during February of the same year, and it was the last album to feature founding member Miroslav Vaturis as the prime bassist. So it was the real last album with them, the 3 solid members. So Eric Gavet's on drums, along with Herschel Dwellingham, and Muga Buka plays the Moroccan clay drums. Now they are an interesting instrument. I've heard them. They really just sound good. And Israeli jar drums. And we've got Dom Romallo on a wooden flute. First track on here is probably my favourite song by this band. It's a bit of an epic, and it's called Boogie Woogie Waltz. It's my favourite long track. I love the guitar in this. Some wonderful saxophone and bass. It's just an incredible piece of music. Manolete, the bass line is brilliant for Miroslav. It's probably one of the best bass lines he's done. Absolutely brilliant. Adios is next. It's a very short piece, very moving, and some nice saxophone from Wayne. Then we get the 125th Street Congress, my second favourite track on here. Again, it's a long track. It's got that early sort of synthesizer sound. The bits of guitar on this are great. A groovy little bass line. Some great drumming from Eric. Good track. Then we have Will. The percussion on this is very good. It's not overcomplicated. They kept it basic, but it's the sound. It's just a wonderful sound, the percussion on this. And the last track is Non-Stop Home. Probably the weakest track on here, but it's still got some nice delicate tones and some nice percussion on it. As I said, this is probably an album that defines jazz fusion. The 2 long tracks are just out of this world. I really got into this album, and I might be going to buy this at some stage because I think it's absolutely brilliant. And I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 7.5. Okay, I've really enjoyed doing this, but as the time's gone and I'm blocking up more than ever, it's all been a weird day, long day for doing the recordings. Fans still whirling away, so I do apologise for this if this quality is a little bit weaker than normal. I'll be back tomorrow, and we have got another battle royale for you, and this is a proper prog one. We've got Close to the Edge, yes, against Remember the Future, Nectar. So that's tomorrow also. And tomorrow we've got producer in Pick and Mix, and it's Bruce Fairburn, who produced some great albums. So that's all coming tomorrow, and it's live stream as well. And don't forget, America, you need to watch an hour later because you've put your clocks forward. So it is 1 p.m. on the Pacific Coast and 4 p.m. on the Pacific Coast. That's me done for today. It's been a long day. Thank you for listening and watching. Bye for now.